In this video, we will discuss a major topic in AutoCAD, a major element of all AutoCAD drawings, and that is the block. A block is a collection of objects that are combined together as a single object that can be reused in a drawing multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to, in the course of this video, I'm going to first show you how we use blocks in a drawing, in an existing drawing. I'll give you the reasons why we use blocks. I'll show you how to create a block and how to insert a block, and then I will switch over to our office plan and show I'll show you how to create the door block and how to insert that door block. It may be 2 videos depending on how long it goes. I'll try to get through things fairly quickly here. So first I'm going to show you in this drawing that we've talked about before. This is a new project on West 47th in our office. It's still relatively simple. So it's good to see everything, all the elements of it. So a block is, as I said, a collection of elements that you can combine together, and we do that for many reasons. But before I go over the reasons, let's look at some blocks. Here's a block. This is a table. When I click on this, it's a table with 6 chairs, and you can see that it's one object, and this is the same object, just repeated. Okay. All the doors in this project are are blocks, and you can see in both cases it's a lot easier to select an object once than, say, if you wanted to copy this, you'd have to make sure you had every little bit. There's many lines here, fewer lines here, but still it's a lot easier just to click on it and go, and it's always ready. Whenever you need to insert the block, you don't have to draw it over again. So door blocks are common. Fixtures, okay, so bathroom fixtures. In this case, we have the lavatory, and the toilet is not only a block with the toilet, but it's drawn and combined with the grab bars, because why make 2 separate blocks when, at least in this project, they're always together. Okay, so you'll notice also when you click on a block, of course the whole thing highlights, which tells you that it's one object, but instead of getting a bunch of grips, if you were to say highlight the stairs, they're not blocks, so you get all these blue squares, the grips. Well, with say the toilet block, I'll click on it, the whole thing highlights, but there's only one grip, and it's over here. That grip is the insertion point for the block. So when we create a block, we have to pick a point that we will use to insert the block, and I'll explain more about that later. So let's see, other blocks in the plan. Again, fixtures, right? So this stove, that's a block. The insertion point is up against the wall here. This sink here, double sink, has an insertion point here. Personally, I don't think that's a great insertion point. It could be up here or back there. That would be easier. Refrigerator is a block with an insertion point. So there'll be more as this drawing develops. But any object that is usually all together and never comes apart should be made into a block. Right? Let's look at another drawing. This is the elevation for that same building. Now, this is a good place to talk about blocks because, at least with the windows, it's a perfect use for the block command. You have all of these windows here, and they're all similar. And of course, you don't want to have to draw them more than once, and you want to be able to easily select them and all that. So I'll demonstrate how we I'll demonstrate the benefits of using blocks with this drawing. So I'm going to write out the reasons why we use blocks right here. One basic one, of course, sorry, let me get it right here, is less drawing. We don't have to draw an object more than once. You draw it once, you block it, and then you always have it. You always have it in your in the memory of that particular drawing. Now, of course, the copy command does the same thing. You can draw it once and copy it, but the block is different because it's still one object and it's saved in the memory. If you created a block but erased all the instances of that block in your drawing, it's still going to be in the memory of the drawing, and when you go to insert it, you'll find it. You'll be able to find it and insert it into the drawing as a single object. So in general, though, less drawing is an important reason why we use blocks. Next one is ease of selection. If I wanted to copy this window, use the copy command, I just have to select anywhere on it, and there it is. If this were not a block, I'm going to take this block and explode it. The explode command is here. That takes a block and puts it back into its individual elements. Now it's not a block anymore. If I were to want to copy that or select it, just to select it, if I wanted to move it, yes, I could do a window like this, but it's a lot easier to miss some of it, right? You couldn't just click on the object. Not all of it is highlighted here, so that you could miss some. So it's easy to select it. All right. Next, which I think this is the reason I think the most important reason is global editing. So I have a block like this, and let's say the client says, let's get rid of those old windows. They are terrible. They just don't work anymore. Just give me a standard double hung window with a full sash top and bottom. Well, it would be very easy now to do that, because these are blocks. I can double click on it, go to the block editor, and I could just remove those mountains. Make a few, fillet radius 0. There was a radius associated with the fillet command there. So this is my new window. I hit close block editor. It says, you want to save the changes? Yes. And now all the windows are updated, including these up here. Of course, this is a different shape window, so I'd have to do that differently. So I'll do that now. I'll double click on it, hit OK, and I'll get rid of all these interior bits of frame. This is just a demonstration. Okay, so that's my new window. Hit close block editor. Do I want to save it? Yes. And now all these are updated. And it's not only these, it's every other instance of this block in this entire drawing, even if it's way off of the screen. So global editing, it's a great reason to use blocks. Let's see, what else? There's block library. Well, in every office, there are certain blocks you use over and over and over again. When you need a block, it's nice to be able to find it quickly and to reuse it rather than have to draw it from scratch again. So in offices that are organized, you'll have a block library. So, and I'll show you this in another video, how to save your blocks into a central set of folders. So you could have a folder set up somewhere on the server called block library, and there could be subfolders in there, furniture, kitchen appliances, kitchen fixtures, whatever. And then within those folders and subfolders, you have all the blocks. So in any other point in the future, if you need that block, you'll be able to find it. So, but to be clear, when you create a block for the first time, it's only in that particular drawing. You have to export it outside of that drawing into a block library if you want to use it in other drawings. Or of course you could also cut and paste that block into other drawings. But anyway, so that's the general concept of block library. And then the fifth reason why we use blocks is to save computer memory. Now that's not really a huge reason anymore, but you know, when I started working on AutoCAD, we had you know, relative to now, a slow computer, so you had to worry about taxing the memory of the computer. So that blocks help, because it really only, this block is in the memory once, and the rest of these instances of the block are simply coordinates where this entity is copied. So it takes up less memory. Now it still helps if you're doing a very complicated project with lots and lots of blocks, or with let's say huge elements that are repeated. Say you have a site plan which has many copies of the same building drawn. If you have that as a block, that could really help improve the performance of the drawing by saving memory. So those are the reasons we use blocks. I'm going to show you how we use this. So let me get to the other drawing. Okay, so when we create a block, one thing is very important, that you draw it on layer 0. Now this isn't 100% of the time, but it's nearly 100% of the time you draw blocks on layer 0. We just learned about layers last week, and now I'm going to tell you that we need to draw some things on layer 0. Well, the reason for that is it's a very good one. Layer 0 has a specific property, and it's especially important when it comes to blocks. Anything that you draw on layer 0 and then make into a block has a property that, how do I explain this? When you insert the block on a particular layer, that block will take on the characteristics of that layer, but only if you created the block on layer 0. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that rather than try to explain it some more. So let's say I want to make a chair. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and it's going to be 3 feet by 3 feet. Okay. I'll explode this rectangle, so now it's just a bunch of lines. This is just a demonstration, so you can just watch. Okay. So there's my chair. I'm going to create it. I created it on layer 0, and now I can make it into a block. I'll demonstrate what happens or why we draw it on layer 0 a little bit later. Let me first create the block. I'm going to make all these objects into a block. So I start the command by typing in B, enter, or you can go up here to the block toolbar and use the create button. So you click on create, and this window comes up. Now there are 3 bits of information that you need to supply to create a block. First thing is the name. And you want to create a block name that makes sense, right? And that you keep in mind that when you insert a block, some drawings are going to have hundreds of blocks. You want to have them categorized. So when it comes to furniture, I always type F, enter, and then I'll give it a description, and I go from general to specific. So F is for furniture, then chair, and then I can say chair number 7, something like that, right? If there are multiple chairs. Or I can give it a more specific description. So there's my name right there for that block. The next thing I need to give it is a base point. Right? A base point is, like I showed you when I highlighted those blocks earlier, the base point is the point that you insert the block to, or you use the base point when you insert the block into the drawing. You're grabbing it from that point. So you have to think about what would be the best point. In this case, since these chairs will be floating around in the middle of the room, the point right in the front middle of the chair will help, but it's really not important in this particular case. In other blocks, it's very important where the insertion point goes, and it could be anywhere. It could be off the object, it could be in the middle of the object. It all depends on how you'll insert it later, and we'll talk about this in many instances as we create more blocks. But for our purposes now, I'm going to put the base point here. Now, in order to do that, this little square has to do with picking the base point. Now, in AutoCAD, often you get more options than you need. Like right here, when would we know the X, Y, and Z coordinate of that block? I don't understand why that's taking up room. But what I'm going to do is click on this button here where it says pick point. If I click on the button here, it sends me back into the drawing to pick a point. And my O snaps are on, of course, so I can pick this point here. And then once I pick a point, it brings this drawing back. Now, it happens to give me the X, Y, and Z here, but you know, it doesn't mean anything. Next, and last thing we want to do, so we've given it the name, we've picked a point, and now we have to select which objects are going to be part of that block. So same thing here. Now I don't know. First, let me select the objects. Where it says select objects, there's a button next to it. I click it. It sends you back into the drawing. Do a big window. You're done. You hit enter, and that's it. Okay, so you see a little thumbnail of it here. You've done all 3 things that you need to do to create a block. Now, one thing I should talk about is this. Normally, it says retain there. But maybe in 2017, they've changed the default, who knows. It says convert to block. So what that means is this is asking you what to do with these lines that you have on the screen right now. You could retain it, and they would be just lines. You know, it wouldn't be a block. Or it could convert this to a block, but it's on layer 0, and that's the correct layer to draw it on, but that's not going to ultimately be the layer it is on. So that's, well, actually, I think I'm getting a little confused. Maybe that is the standard, but it was up here. Maybe that was the default, but that's what I'm going to leave it. Convert to block. So the object will be converted into a block right there. But your other option is to just delete it. If you click on delete, it'd be gone, but the definition of the block would still be in the memory. So that's good. So convert to block. When I hit OK, there it is. Now it's a block, and you see the base point here. If I were to erase that, I'm going to turn the furniture layer on now. Furniture new. And now I'm going to place the chairs in here. I'm going to use the insert command. So in the block toolbar, there's the insert command here. Now, if you click on it, this seems like it's helpful, right? But when you have a lot of blocks, it's not that helpful, if you ask me. So you can do it this way, or what I usually do is I enter. I is the insert command. And then you can choose your block from this list. These are the blocks already in this relatively new drawing. So you do get, you do create a lot of blocks. So let's see, I created, this is a little embarrassing because here are all these table blocks and they don't start with F. Well, I guess not everybody in this office does it the same way, but they should. Okay, so here I am, chair 7. This is the block I want to use. There it is. And now it says specify on screen. That means when I click OK, I'm going to insert the block on the screen. I'm going to specify where it's to be inserted on the screen. Let's see, scale. I don't want to change the scale of it, so that I'm not going to touch that. And rotation. I do want to be able to rotate it. That's important. And I always check this box. Now you only have to check it once every time you start up AutoCAD. I mean, the first time you use insert, you select rotation, and then every time you use a block, it'll be an option. So you only have to do that once, but you have to remember to do it. So you click on rotation and hit OK. So there it is. Now notice, even though I drew this chair on layer 0, it's this pink color because it's being inserted on the furniture new layer, which is pink. So I'm going to click right here, and because I chose the option to rotate, I'll just rotate it to that location. Now it's a block, it's rotated. If I use I'm going to use the mirror command. I don't have to use the insert command again. I can just use the mirror command. Now, some furniture we don't really need to use blocks for, right? Because it's only one object anyway. So, like if I'm using an ellipse, I won't make that a block, unless it's a very specific thing. I could. You could go either way on that. All right, so that's the chair block. And just to, let's say you wanted to edit that block, all you got to do is double click on it, and you get to the edit block definition. I can hit it, and now I get into a whole new drawing. This is a whole drawing that's made just for this block, and the only thing in here is this block. So the 0.00 in this particular universe is the insertion point. So if I wanted to move this chair away from the insertion point, I could just move the whole chair over because you can't move the 0, 0 point of the drawing. So let me see. I'm going to make a radius here. Fillet radius 3. Let's soften up this chair a little bit. And then hit close block editor, save changes. And there it is. There's my updated chair. Okay. So that's simply put the how to create a block and how to insert a block. So let's just jump right into the office plan. I don't appear to have it open. Thought I did. Okay, here we are. All right, so I need to bring up my sample drawing. All right, okay, here's my sample drawing. I'm going to put all these doors in here. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regular doors. No, 8, 9, I guess. and then there's these double doors here. Okay, so you'll have to remember that the interior doors are all 3 feet wide, and there's a 6-inch return. This note right here says 6-inch return from the corner to the door opening. So that's how I'm going to create all the openings. Then I'll put the doors in there. So what I want to do is create the openings first. So I'm going to do that starting in the upper left-hand corner in the library. I'm going to use O-Track for that. It's the easiest way to do it. So the wall interior layer is on. I start the line command, hold my cursor in the corner, drag to the left. I didn't click there. And I type in 6, enter. So I start my line 6 inches over from that corner. And then I drag down. All right. Then I'm going to offset 3 feet. Now in this case, I have to be careful. If I offset and I click right here, remember that I showed this example before. I'm trying to offset. I could offset to the right, I could offset to the left. But if I hold my cursor, say, too close to this line, right? It's still to the left of the line, but you see at this corner there's a little O-snap. The square for the endpoint is showing up. So if I click right now, I'm going to O-snap to the right side of that line. So I usually hold my cursor off to the side, not on top of any other objects. So there's my 3-foot line. I'm not going to trim it out now. I'm going to wait when I have more doorways to open up. All right. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. 6, enter. I go over. I hold the cursor, but I don't click. 6 over. Then offset. O, enter. 3 feet is the default measurement, so I just right click to accept that. Offset up, offset down. Okay, now I have a door. Oh, I don't have doors here, but it's an opening, and those dimensions are shown on the plan up here. I'm going to start with a line, hold my cursor, drag down, and it says 2'5", it looks like 2 feet 5 inches, and I draw that line in, and the opening is 3'6". So I hold my cursor there, drag down, 3'6", and there's that. And I'm just going to copy these two because they're the same as what's across here. Although I noticed that it's not noted as such, but this should probably be noted that these two openings are aligned, but that's okay. All right, need to do the same thing over here. Start my line, go up 6, enter, and over. Start the line command again, 6, enter, and over. Offset, right click to accept 3-foot default. Offset this one up and that one down. Now we have doors here, so I start here but I don't click, drag down, 6, enter, and over. Offset, 3 feet and down. And whenever possible, I find it easier to use the copy command, so I copy those over there. Just a couple more doors to do. Okay, we're going to put these bathroom doors in, same way. Line, hold my cursor here, drag over 6 and down, offset 3. And this time I could use the mirror command because this is a symmetrical environment. And finally, these closet doors. Now, if I were to come in 6 inches from this corner and 6 inches from this corner, that would leave a door of 5 feet 2 inches. And eventually, when we do the door schedule, you'll find that that's not the size of the door opening. It's actually a 5-foot door opening. So in this case, we don't have a 6-inch return, we have a 7-inch return. So what you could do in this case is draw a line down the middle, going from midpoint to midpoint, and offsetting 30 inches, not 3 feet, but 30 inches. This is not a typical door, so that note about the typical door size does not apply. So now we have all of our door openings, and of course we have to trim them out. So I start the trim command, TR, enter, right click to make everything a cutting edge, and then this takes no time at all. Just go through and you'll see why you want to do this, why you want to group the commands like this. Right? Just makes it faster. Alright, all the door openings are there. Okay, so it's already been a 30-minute video, so let's get to this door block. I'm going to go in the upper left-hand corner where I usually start, and my door is usually, let's see, I mean it's a block, so I usually draw them on layer 0, so I change the current layer to 0. The door is a 3-foot door, so I have pretty much all the information I need. I'm going to draw a rectangle starting from this corner. Always take note of where the hinge is. So I start my rectangle, start in that corner, and I'm going to type in -2, 3 feet, right? Because I went 2 inches to the left and 3 feet up. Now 2 inches is a pretty thick door. In fact, I don't think that, I mean, that isn't a common door. 1 3/4 is pretty common, but interior doors are often 1 1/2. But sometimes if you draw things, especially if you're going to print them at 1/8 inch scale, if you draw them at true size, it's just a little bit too tight and the lines run together and you just get a thick, heavy black line rather than seeing the door, the rectangle. So a little poetic license there. So I draw my rectangle 2 inches wide, so I go -2, 3 feet. Then I have to draw my arc. I don't use the 3-point method, I use the start, center, end method. The start of my arc is here, the center of my arc is here, and the end of my arc is here. Alright, so I know that I have to make sure that this arc is, or this door is perfect, because I'm only going to draw it once. I don't have to draw all these other doors. Well, I have to draw the closet door, but these typical doors I don't have to draw again, because I'm going to use a block. So I double check, make sure it looks good. If I click on this arc, I see that the center point for that arc, the center grip, is right where it should be, where the hinge is. So now let's make this a block. So I type in B, enter, or I could just click on the create button in the block toolbar. I'm going to name this DR for door. So all my doors start with DR 36. So DR 36. Base point, I click on this button, sends me back into the drawing. The base point for a door, I always put it right at the hinge, right here, where the door touches the wall. Objects, so I click on this button, it sends me into the drawing. I have to select 2 objects, this one and this one. Right, the arc and the rectangle. Hit enter, it's going to convert it to a block, so on, everything's good. I hit OK. Right. So this is a block, but it's on the wrong layer. It's drawn. It was drawn correctly on 0, but now that it's a block, it has to be on the door layer. So I'm going to click, while it's highlighted, I'm going to click the window, the layer window, and choose which layer it has to be on. So I want to put it on the door layer. And you see, every time you go to a different layer, it takes on the properties of that layer. That's why we draw it on layer 0. If you draw your block on the door block, it'll always be on the door block, and then it might be inserted on, say, the wall layer, but it'll still look like a door block because it was drawn on the door layer. It'll still be yellow, but when you turn the wall layer off, the doors turn off, it's very confusing. So blocks on layer 0 and insert them on the appropriate layer afterwards. So I'm going to put that door on the door layer, and there we go. That's it. Now, you could copy this block, right? It's really maybe not the handiest thing to do, but let's say I could put this block here and mirror it. There would happen to be no other blocks of that same orientation, so I put it there and I can mirror it. Do I want to erase the source object? Yes. I can start the mirror command again and mirror that block over here. Okay. But the best way to do this is to, it's not the best way, but often the best way is to just use the insert command. So I'm going to click this layer and get off of the layer 0 and put it on the door layer as current. Door layer is current, type in I, enter. And because I only have one block, well, this Arctic block came with my dimensions, but the door layer is my only block in this drawing so far. It shows up here. I'll choose it. I make sure rotation is checked, and I hit OK. Now, in this case, I'm not going to insert the block for this opening because it's in the wrong orientation. I'm going to put it here and then rotate it into place. And then I can use the mirror command to place it over here. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I'm going to do it, I'm actually going to do it the long way. All right, so I could place the door right here. This is the proper placement. I just place it where the hinge goes and rotate it into place. Now I would mirror this one to over there, but what if I couldn't do that? Well, I could insert this door over here. I place it where the hinge goes, right here. I can rotate it into place, but then I'd have to mirror it. Now some people will create door blocks that are both left-hand, whoops, I don't do that. They create left-handed doors and right-handed doors, so they never have to use the mirror image. But I always, it takes too long for me to figure out what door is which, so I just mirror. Now in this case I have enough doors, I can just use the copy command, place it right there, and then the mirror command. At a certain point when you have enough doors in the drawing, just copying those doors are going to be easiest. Okay, so those are our typical doors, and I'm going to draw two doors here. I'm going to use the distance command here to verify the opening, 5 feet, and tell you what, okay, so we're going to put two 30-inch doors here. So I'm going to draw on layer 0 rectangle. That's going to be 2 inches, -2, comma 30, and then I'm going to have to put a temporary line here for now, and I'm going to draw an arc using the start, center, end. So start, center, end. Erase my guideline, and I'm going to create this as a block. So B, enter. This time it's DR 30. Pick my point, that's where the hinge is. Select the objects, these two objects, and hit OK. So that is now a door block. I put it on the door layer by highlighting it and going and selecting the door layer from this list. Now I'm going to use the mirror command to mirror it over here. Alright. So that is that's a homework assignment. This is a long video. It's going on 40 minutes now. But that's it. Only 2 fairly long videos this week. It's not a lot of work to do. But my hope is that you do everything twice here. Okay, it's not a lot of work. So once you draw it, maybe set it aside, or move all the walls and doors out of the way and do it again. This is the best kind of practice you can get. Okay, so please try that, and let me know how it goes. Thank you.